So let's talk some boring stuff for some, but very important stuff to others if they're really interested in what is going to be the future of the Transformers brand in the next 2 to 3 years. Let's talk about the 2021 third quarter financial call report. We're clearing October soon. The third quarter is at its close, and we're going to see how the Transformer brand is doing at this point from this financial call with investors and everything like that. Now, normally this financial call with investors is done with the CEO of Hasbro, Brian Goldner. He is no longer with us, so right now the interim CEO of Richard Stoddart will be doing these calls for the time being. There is a talk that they are going to be having a huge executive discussion with the board to decide who will be the new permanent CEO of Hasbro, so stay tuned for that. That will, as much as people don't realize it, that can make a big deal in the long term in terms of the direction and decisions that are made with the Transformers brand. A CEO will decide how much energy and output is put into each individual brand. It's not just, Transformers is not an island with Hasbro. There's a lot of other stuff there. And we're going to get into that other stuff too, because it's really going to be a strong reflection of things. But we're going to get that in the second half of this. So the first half, let's talk about how Transformers did this quarter and how it relates to things. And to quote Richard over here, he says, the Transformer franchise revenue has increased in this quarter. The final chapter of the War for Cybertron trilogy launched July 29th on Netflix, driving continued demand for our generation's fan products. We also celebrate this new milestone for the Transformer franchise when Universal Studios Beijing opens Transformers Metro Base, the first ever Transformers-themed land. Actually, not true, but whatever. In partnership with Paramount, production of the Transformers Rise of the Beast movie continues for its theatrical release next summer. So first, they're saying that Kingdom did very well. And they're probably attributing it to the success of the Netflix series. That's really how they want to paint it. But it means that obviously toy sales were up and they're very happy with that. And what I've said in the past, when something does well, they're going to do more of that. So the next thing that they mention here is the mention that there's going to be big moves in Beijing with this Transformers Metro Base, the first ever Transformers themed land. This will, everyone knows way back in the day in the 80s, there was a Universal Studios Transformers themed area back in the day. And I guess they're just forgetting. It had O.J. Simpson in the commercials. You could Google it. Some very funny old commercials from back in the day. It was called Transformers Base Camp from Universal. And you could get little coupons and stuff and see Starscream and Jazz in costume. Really interesting stuff. I tweeted about it a few times just because it's so fascinating. But so now there's going to be one in Beijing, and this falls more again into what I've been talking about in terms of the brand and its relationship to China, and how there's going to be a huge push in the future for stuff that's aimed for that market. Obviously, the Big V kind of delayed a lot of different things. Whatever happened to Transformers Neza and all that stuff, the Big V kind of delayed all of that. But, it goes back to like other topics that we've talked about in the past about, why certain Transformer toys are kind of done in a lower plastic quality and who is this marketed for? That market that buys toys, plays with them, and then throws them out. So, or hopefully recycles them. And that's kind of that market there. So it's an ever-growing market. It's way more people than us, has a larger growing birth rate than us, unfortunately. And Hasbro's looking over there and going, that might be the future. I hate to say it, guys, but again, when we're going to do these quarterly reports with finance, we got to be a little real when it comes to the numbers, not the loyalties, unfortunately. And then, of course, the mention of Transformers Rise of the Beast and how it's going to be coming next summer, and reconfirming that July release date. Or June, was it? One or the other. They keep moving it around. The next thing that they want to talk about is how any worries about holiday shortages because of difficulty with shipments and stuff. And the CFO of Hasbro mentioned that they're going to make additional ships and ports and cargoes in order to make sure that the holiday season has tons of Transformer product and is not the empty pegs that we have right now in certain areas. And the last thing that they talk about, the CFO of Entertainment One, or E1, is to talk about Transformer fiction. And they say here, other than the Transformer featured film Rise of the Beast and the upcoming animated series, TV movies, the 2 of Netflix that are coming of Transformer Cyberverse, there is a plan for a Nickelodeon exclusive show, and E1 is working on more entertainment content for the Transformer brand. They're vague on that. We don't know what that is, but there is something that's going to be happening. So it's probably those series that were lightly mentioned of BotBots and that, that Autobot family series that we heard about, that comedy-based one. But again, it's all kind of like we're not too sure what that all means. Now, here's the big thing that I wanted to bring up, and this is the second half of it, and it's the relation to other brands within the Hasbro bubble, like how Transformers did compared to other stuff. And that's where it gets kind of interesting, because the big push right now for them in this quarter is going to be the new My Little Pony TV series, so they're really focusing on that, but going into the holiday season. But there is a lot of other stuff going on to mention. So consumer products, so they have pretty much 3 divisions of their segmented performances. They have their consumer products, which is what Transformers is, because it's it's physical toys and stuff. They have their Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming stuff, so that's their Magic the Gathering and their online gaming stuff that they've been working on. And then they have their entertainment section, which is E1 Entertainment, and their fiction stuff. And the Magic the Gathering stuff and Wizard of the Coast up 32%. 32%, made a ton of money for them. Their entertainment is up 76%, made a lot of money for them. But in the case of their consumer products, physical toys, down 3%. Now, it's not a lot. It's nothing to right away hit the fire alarm over, but it does show that there's a decrease while the other 2 are exponentially increasing. So that's something to keep in mind too. But there is some kind of good news in other areas, because while they're within the consumer brands, their partner brands are stuff that they license out, Star Wars, Marvel, and all of that, that's down 10%. But their Hasbro Gaming, which is related to the Magic the Gathering stuff and the online stuff, up 18%. And their film stuff and TV stuff up 58%. Again, that refers to the other performance review. But at least their franchise brands, meaning overall compared to last quarter, at least having those franchise brands compared to their other toy stuff is up 9%. So what that breaks down is they lost 3%. They pretty much lost 3% in consumer products. But that loss of 3%, from what it looks like, came more from the Marvel stuff, the Star Wars stuff, and any other licensed brands that they don't own first party, that they license out instead of stuff that they don't own in-house. So I think that that's probably what hurt them more than anything. Whereas opposed to their franchise brands, My Little Pony, Transformers, G.I. Joe, those are the ones that seem to be just fine. And so that leads to a positive, at least. So at least if there is any kind of problems that they're having with toy sales, it's not coming from Transformers. So it's looking pretty good. Again, at the end of the day, they made a revenue of $1.97 billion. They're doing just fine. So I just wanted to just cover all of that because it kind of gives us an idea of how things are going. And the long, short answer, Transformers is doing just fine. Kingdom did very well. They're happy with the sales. The holiday season is going to have way more product on the shelves, so it won't be barren pegs, hopefully. That's what they're trying to say. And they're going to have a CEO at some point announced, which will be a new way to direct everything going on. And stay tuned for some new Transformer shows. And actually, the Cyberverse TV series, movies, while they will be debuting at the end of November, they will be available in Canada at the beginning of November. So there'll probably be some links online from people who are going to bootleg it. But you'll be probably able to see those TV movies, both of them, very, very soon. The Immobilizer and The Perfect Decepticon. So stay tuned for that when that happens. And as always, check it out, guys. Enjoy life, and we'll be talking very, very soon.